record number is absent. Supervisor Bedefka.
Present.
Supervisor Rosenberg.
Present.
Vice Chairman Bento, let the record show, is absent, and Charlie Casey here. I think we can dispense with the pledge because everybody, we just did that a few moments ago. And we need to start the meeting by item number 3, which would be the audience comments in reference to this particular agenda. If anybody has any, please step forward. If not, okay. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the approval of the October 18, 2017 meeting minutes. I think each member received a copy. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? If being none, if we could get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes approved. Okay. Consideration of the agreement, the amendment to the agreement for floor lawn regarding revised maintenance scope. Now, we had the benefit of the last conversation at the last meeting about that, and I think the price was the same as last year, I believe, right, Michael?
I believe that's the case. I can verify that, and keep in mind that this is an amendment to your existing agreement. It's not a new agreement, you're just changing the specifications.
Okay. Is there any conversation or problem with that particular agreement? Could I get a motion to approve the revised agreement with floor lawn?
Motion to revise the agreement with floor lawn.
Okay, do I hear a
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Being none, the amendment to the agreement is approved. Okay, that brings us to item 6, consideration of the district management agreement with governmental management services. Now, Mike, you went through this a moment ago, but if you could briefly tell us again.
Yeah, no problem. At the last meeting, the board asked, directed us to negotiate an agreement with governmental management services for district management, accounting services, field services, and other ancillary services. We prepared this agreement. It's a similar agreement that we've used before with GMS at other districts. There are 2 items that were included in their proposal that aren't included in the agreement. We need to get an authorization for the board to approve an addenda to the agreement. And those are for a website administration and an amount of $1,500 per year, and then also dissemination agent services in the amount of $5,000 per year. Currently, you pay $5,000 a year for your dissemination agent services, so there's no change. And both those fees are consistent with what their proposal was, but because it's not a typical district management service, we suggest that you approve the contract and then approve the addenda, and then we'll bring the addenda back to you for ratification at your January meeting for those 2 items. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has on that.
Any questions for Mike at this point? Okay, I just have one statement, basically, Mike. There was a lot of talk about the deadlines for providing material, and I thought that was kind of encompassed on page 5, where it said all services will be completed on a timely basis in accordance with the district needs and statutory requirements. So I thought we kind of included that.
I think it is included. It wasn't as specific as maybe one board member wanted, but I think that providing feedback to your manager and when you want to see things and when you expect them to be done is something you should do early on, and I would imagine they're going to try to meet whatever requests that you have.
All right, then, can I have a motion to approve the district manager's agreement with GMA, Governmental Management Services? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Now we need a motion on the amendments. Is
Yeah,
that
the
correct?
2 addenda, one for website at $1,500 and one for dissemination agent at $5,000.
Okay, you heard the motion or suggestion by the attorney. Do I have a motion approved?
Motion.
Here, a second?
Approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None being opposed, motion carried. Okay, now we have item 7 on the agenda, which is consideration of a resolution 2018-06, removing and appointment of officers of the district. Mike, any comment before we?
No, only that certain of your officers, like your treasurer and secretary and assistant treasurer and secretaries, are typically employees of your district manager. And because we are transitioning district managers, we thought it would make sense to transition those officers as well. Also by appointing some of the new company as assistant treasurers at this point in time, it helps facilitate with the transfer of the bank accounts that needs to happen.
Okay, any questions? Okay, could I have a motion approving resolution 2018-06, removing and appointing of officers?
There should be improvement of the officers coming in. All in favor?
Making a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, Bob, I guess that brings us to you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's 2 items on the manager's report. One is the presentation of the financials. Do we have any questions on those?
Was there, last meeting you indicated there was that billing issue was related strictly to Poinciana, correct? Not
Yes.
Poinciana West.
Yes, as far as I know, yes, sir.
Any questions about the financials from the board members? Okay. We don't need, that's, okay. The audit committee selection process, I think we had the benefit of the last meeting discussing this, and Michael, I think we'd like to appoint the board as a whole.
It's up to the board. You have to appoint at least 3 people to the audit committee. Most boards just identify the 5 individual members who are on the board as the audit committee. Do that by motion, and then once you approve that, you need to set a audit committee meeting date.
Okay. The one question I had about that, we had talked about a December 18th date, I recall somewhere.
Yeah, I would suggest you keep the earliest date that you all can get available and that the district manager can meet the noticing. I think you need to be more concerned about getting your audit done as quick as you can versus having it tie with when Poinciana gets theirs done, because they're not going to be able to meet until January 3rd.
Correct. Now, we were looking originally at the 18th, I believe, in one of our communiques. Now, we have 2 members that are absent today, so I'd like to appoint the board as a whole to the audit committee and suggest the 18th of December if the room is available or something.
And I would have to ask Bob if they've already provided that, advertised that notice for the 18th.
Is that doable, Bob?
I'll have to check and see.
Because that's the only way the 18th work is if they've already run the notice.
Yeah, let me check and see if they've already.
Maybe we can do the appointment while we're waiting on that.
Yeah, well, we're just checking on that. Did you guys have the motion or not to appoint the board yet?
To appoint the board as a whole.
They didn't. They haven't had a motion yet. So the recommendation is to appoint the whole board, but you still need a motion in a second.
That's what we're doing
All
now.
right, motion to appoint the board as the audit committee.
Second, here a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. We have the RFP evaluation criteria, which is item,
Yeah, that was in the agenda before we realized we were heading into our 4th year since we've done an audit, so we're not doing anything with evaluation criteria today. The only thing that we're dealing with is appointment of the committee and then scheduling of that first meeting. What I would recommend is that you can go ahead and set 2 audit committee meetings. You set one for the 18th at a time, and then also set one on January 3rd to coincide. And if the 18th has not been noticed, then you just meet on the 3rd. If the 18th has been noticed, then you meet on the 18th, and Bob would have to let the board members know what actually works there. But if you want to move past this agenda item, the best way to do it is just set 2 audit committee meetings, and then we'll not have the one we don't need.
so could I get a motion to approve the 2 audit committee meetings, one for December 18th, based on availability of a room and notice, and for January 3rd at 11 a.m. Have a motion?
First motion is the 18th of January.
And
3rd of January.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried, and I guess, Bob, you'll have to give us some
Yeah, I'm
feedback.
checking on that now, I'll let you know, but now, the other one was scheduled for 11.
Did I say 11 or no?
Yeah, the Point Siena West was, Point Siena was scheduled for 11 on the 3rd, so you wanted to make that 11:30?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right, and then what about the 18th? If the 18th has been posted, what time?
If the room's available at 10 or 11, that's what I think we would settle on.
If, on the 18th, if it's been advertised, there's a specific time that's been advertised.
That's what I'm checking on right now.
So, and if it hasn't been, then go ahead and you'd have to do a new motion to change it to 11:30 on January 3rd.
Thank you. Okay, staff,
We need to check to see if the room is available on the 18th.
I think Sherry's checking.
I'm doing it right now.
And but as Mike said, it would be advertised already, I think, with a location too. Correct, Mike?
Yeah, the 18th is a 7-day advertisement, so if you back out 7 days, that's the 11th, which was 2 days ago. So the ad either has run or it hasn't for the 18th. There's no doing a new one for a meeting on the 18th.
All right. That brings us to staff reports. Michael?
Just one item, I'd ask that you guys go ahead and do a new motion to schedule the time on January 3rd to 11:30 instead of
We
11.
have to amend that. Amended?
Yeah.
A motion to amend the meeting time for the audit committee to 11:30 on the 18th. I mean, yeah, on the 18th.
There a second?
No,
That's on the
on the
3rd.
3rd.
There a second, Sid?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. Is that it, Mike?
Yeah, until we get to my report.
I think that's where we're at, staff reports.
I've just been working on the transition with the new manager and the existing manager, and trying to make sure that that happens as smoothly as can be. And as we get closer to that, I'll highlight any issues of concern. I think that transition is scheduled for the 25th is the official transition. Severn Trent will be preparing the agenda package for the January meeting, although we'll likely have George Flint from GMS actually run that meeting since it's so close to that turnover time. And then also, I think over the next 6 months, the board probably needs to have an agenda item to just kind of talk about the website and how often it gets updated, what should be included on the website, and things of that nature. There's certain legal requirements of the documents you have to have there, but in terms of how you want the website to function, it's not really something the boards have ever spent a lot of time on, and it maybe is time, given some of the comments we've received from members of the public.
Related to the transition, I'm sure there'll be an evaluation at the end of that period to see if there's any outstanding items or if there's any prorating of billing or anything of that nature, Michael?
Yeah, and I've been in contact with Bob Conkar about getting me in advance how he thinks that the field services and district management services and dissemination agent services should be prorated. And once I get that, I'll review that with our existing contracts to make sure that that's done correctly. And I haven't gotten any information on that, but Bob said that he was working on it.
I have a question, Bob. You had talked during the first meeting about the transition happening on the 25th, and if you didn't have all the information that you needed, there might be some difficulty. What information are you waiting for, and how we will make sure that you get it?
No, that wasn't about the transition, that was about the quarterly report. Because, see, we're required to file that quarterly report, but it requires us to get information from the developer.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't get that till the last minute, so the report's due in February. So if they give us the information prior to the end of the 25th, we can do that. But if they don't, then we'll have to transition to the new management company, that's the problem.
Or is there any way that you can, in the past, when have they given you the information?
And we usually get it at the last minute from the developer, but we can reach out to the developer and see if we can get it ahead of time.
That would be great.
Sure. And I did check, Diane told the board members, and we could not get a quorum. She couldn't get a quorum for the 18th, so it's gonna have to be the 3rd.
All right, Russell, field manager report?
Any questions?
No, I think as illustrated from that we shared from the last meeting, points in the meeting, I think some issues were highlighted that I'm sure you're going to have to take a look at and address. Did the board members feel the same?
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman,
Any other?
we skipped me.
I can say you skipped me, Michael. Yes, I'm sorry.
It's all good. And just similar update regarding the ponds. We are looking at making sure we have an accurate list of which ponds the CDD is maintaining, making sure that that matches with the contracts you have with your various companies. And I did receive a request from the Poinciana Board Chair to create a consolidated list of all three. So we'll have the Poinciana West, and the ones that are currently owned by AV all on one list so that we can reference that when necessary. And I think that's a good idea. So we'll take care of that over the next cycle hopefully and have that distributed.
Thank you. Okay, I guess that brings us to item 10, which would be supervisor comments, if any. Okay, being none, we'll go to item 11, which is audience comments about this agenda.
Could I,
Being none,
no,
Richard, are you speaking?
I just get a little time to get here.
Well,
My name is Richard.
you're the chief of that,
I'm
Richard.
dead. My name is Richard Solomon, 1331 Bonita Canyon. My question is, on Flora Lawn, if they run over a sprinkler head, do we pay for it to be replaced? Because I had 2 or 3 that the guys just beat them up and I had gushers. And I just want to know who is responsible for that.
My opinion, but Bob, you may want to.
Actually, I read in the contract, they are responsible for it, you are not.
So we're not paying
No.
additional costs for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Any other audience comments? Being none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Your second?
Second.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.